on about $12,000 a year. Our biggest expense is my salary. I operate as an independent contractor without any benefits in the form of insurance or retirement, and I also pay the employer's portion of Social Security and an additional 7% cost to me. I found from working with many other groups in the community that without a paid staff person, the events and contributions are minimal. It's critical that KAB have a paid staff person. Also included in major expenses is all the insurance that's required to protect our KAB directors and officers, the general liability for the volunteers to be protected to protect the company, and also the company van expenses and the national convention attendance, which is required to be in good standing as part of the national affiliation. To be able to receive grants and in-kind donations, we have to be in good standing. The next report in your packet is our annual fiscal report, and it runs from July 1st through June 30th of the following year. This is looking at 2019 through 2020 with fiscal contributions by the county of $50,000. We did have an increase for the calendar year, but we had some of last year's budget incorporated in that, so the total was $50,000. Our value of in-kind services and benefits returned to this community was over $10 million. For every public dollar invested in KAB, this community received back $204 in benefits. Last year, our local KAB affiliate set a record, returning more than $15 million in benefits to the county. With COVID-19 this year, unfortunately, many of our events had to be canceled. Our biggest seasons really are spring and fall, of course. The Community Appearance Index is a measurement tool designed by National KAB to measure the progress each affiliate is making in their community. Scores rate litter index on a scale of 1 to 4, with number 1 representing no litter. We just completed the 2020 index, and Shawnee County showed a significant increase this year due to our regular cleanups and our largest cleanup of the year, Get Down and Get Dirty, being canceled due to the virus. We showed an increase from 1.09 last year to 1.42 this year. We're getting the troubled areas addressed with our cleanups, and we hope that we have much better numbers to offer in 2021. Our fiscal year began normally, but with COVID-19, we've been inundated with cancellations. Some of the annual highlights: we continue to distribute our recycling directory to the citizens of Shawnee County free of charge. Our annual Earth Day cleanup celebration we postponed to June this year and included a free landfill day and 2 free yard waste collections. The value of the fees waived for the citizens in Shawnee County was $40,000, and we had 800 participants for those 3 events. Get Down and Get Dirty, our huge community-wide litter cleanup each year around Earth Day, was canceled due to COVID. Also, National Keep America Beautiful recommended that we cancel our regular cleanups, the trash troopers that pick up litter as they walk, and also the storm troopers that clean out storm drains in their neighborhoods was also canceled this spring. Because we're kind of coming out of this, we have picked back up our regular litter cleanups, but we're keeping the groups very small, usually around 10 people, and we're making sure that we socially distance. We are outside, so we don't wear the mask. And we are also continuing with our beautification projects. We work in parks quite a bit. Next in your packet is a copy of our proposed budget for 2021. We respectfully request that Shawnee County consider level funding from 2020 in the amount of $55,000. Finally, in your packets is a strategic plan for 2021. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen, but new initiatives should include working more in the outlying areas like Auburn, Berryton, Rossville, Silver Lake, Tecumseh, and Wakarusa. We're also addressing some of the illegal dump sites on boat ramps that we've been notified about, and we've gotten those adopted. We'll be addressing more water cleanups with the Waterfront Warrior program, and we're going to assist Shawnee County Solid Waste more and more with education, because we need to get the recycling loads cleaned up by Recycling Right is our program. Shawnee County, I'm a part of the NPDES group, the National Pollutant Elimination and Discharge System, I think is the right acronym. And I'm also a part of the Shawnee County Solid Waste Committee. And in working with those folks, I learned that as of next year, there's a new set of requirements for Shawnee County about the stormwater permits. I helped extensively with that, going over the requirements and which one would be addressed by Shawnee County. The new plan consists of requirements by the EPA, and without compliance, it could result in fines. For each of the next 4 years, a minimum of 20% of the points are provided by KAB events. So without KAB, Shawnee County would have to create programs to provide some of these services that are required by that permit. This KAB affiliate and our volunteers have been recognized nationally. During my tenure as executive director, we've been the recipient of more than 60 national awards, including 3 first place in the nation and 2 second place in the nation annual awards. So on behalf of Keep America Beautiful, Topeka, Shawnee County, I would like to thank you for your support in the past, more than 40 years, and we hope that you will continue your support of Keep America Beautiful in the future. And I'd be happy to entertain any questions that you may have. I was hoping Bill Sutton would be here today. He said he'd be here if he could make it, but he must have had something come up.
Yes.
Felicia, last year, the city cut you completely.
Mm-hmm.
And you came to us and said, unless we picked up the city's portion, Keep America Beautiful was just going to go away.
Right. We had enough savings to last about 3 years to make up the deficit from the city.
And then we made the match and increased our funding. And then this year, we're needing more funding for the Keep America Beautiful, or...
No, this is level funding.
Well, I mean, aren't you going from 45 to 55?
Well, we did that this year.
For 2020.
Right, we did that this year. The reason the 50,000 was in there is because this is reporting on my fiscal year, which starts July 1st through June 30th. So on calendar year budget, actually, we're already at 55,000 in 2020. So we're asking for the same amount for 2021.
What are their funding sources? I mean, outside of the city, which will probably never come back again.
Right.
Are you going to other businesses like Home Depot and Target and Mars
Yes.
and Frito-Lay and...
Yes, we constantly request grant money. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses have focused on health, youth, and sports. And while we do some of that programming, we really don't fit into their criteria, unfortunately. We do get grants through National Keep America Beautiful, but it is pretty specific on how much we can keep. Usually it's about 15%. We did have a wonderful grant from DeVito last year of about $5,000. So occasionally we'll have some extra money come in from different sources. But even with the increased funding, we were getting we started at 15,000 with the city. And so with the 10,000 increase, we're still going backwards a little bit unless we create and generate new funding. Did I get you all confused? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Just for Commissioner Mays, this is funded out of the solid waste fund. It's not funded out of the general fund.
Okay, good to know.
Who do you think generates the most trash in this town? Is there a business or what generates the trash?
Put you on the
You know, it's almost, they used to say that it was youth, like 18 and under,
Yeah.
or the elderly, believe it or not. But the elderly are doing a better job, I guess, so it's still the youth. But what I see, it's almost regional. If you go to parts of the community that don't have the pride, they're more likely to litter and have litter in their community. So we address those communities quite a bit because statistics show that if there's no litter present, then they're less likely to litter. And I just had someone tell me that the other day that used to be a smoker, and he said he felt comfortable throwing a cigarette butt down if there were already some there, but if there weren't, then he held on to it for a bit. Of course, if you have a lot of people, you have litter. And so we do very frequent cleanups on Wanamaker because that's not only is it where the most people are, but if someone visits our community, more than likely that's the area of town they're going to see, is they're going to be out there on Wanamaker eating and shopping.
Yes.
Do you guys work with law enforcement and on like dump sites and stuff? Because I know there's one in my district that's You can go by, there's a new couch every week that somebody dumps up there.
Not so much, well, I started with law enforcement, but then I was referred to Shawnee County Solid Waste, and they go up and they do the cleanup. They'll go through the litter to see if there's any identifying mail or return addresses and things like that, that we can actually pursue and prosecute those folks. We used to work a lot more extensively with law enforcement. We did graffiti abatement, and then they were able to get a soda blaster, so they can go out there with that machine and wipe it out in just a few seconds, where it would take us hours to go out and paint over it. So we don't work as much with law enforcement as we used to. But I do, when I do find an illegal, and we've had several this year that we've addressed, notified Shawnee County Sheriff and also the solid waste, and they're the guys that go out and clean it up for us. And then I try to get volunteers to go in and adopt it, so that they'll try to, but they can't do couches and stuff like that.
I've been associated with Keep America Beautiful for years, and one of the things they really do to help us out is provide volunteers for different events. You know, Apple Festival and Tulip Time and things at Ted Inslee Garden.
We kind of color outside of the lines,
Yeah.
especially with Apple Festival, but my volunteers love that event. They love to help out. And pretty much any time a Shawnee County department needs help with volunteers, we try to help out. And we work an awful lot in Parks and Rec.
What's your volunteer base? What do you?
Well, the number of, I try to, it's in the sheets that I gave you guys on the second one. I try to track volunteers in a lot of different ways so that you can get the real picture about what we do. And I've got this 37-page spreadsheet I'd be happy to share with you if you want to take a look at it. But, you know, if a volunteer goes out alone and picks up trash for 1 hour, we consider that an event and a 1 hour and one volunteer. If we have Get Down and Get Dirty, where we had 2,200 volunteers last year, again, that is one event, but 2,200 volunteers. So I try to track it a lot of different ways so that you can get a real feeling for what we do. And I know we dropped this year because of so many events being canceled, but I think we're still over, let's see, 300,000 hours, volunteer hours. And we add up all the contributions, the donations, the in-kind. The volunteer hours is based on a national volunteer level, and plus the public contribution of 50,000 this past fiscal year. And that's how we come up with the 10 million number. It's adding everything that is showing support to Keep America Beautiful, the donation of food, the donation of volunteer hours. We had 18,000 9-volt batteries donated last year. Different things like that. We have a lot of success getting in kind, more so than cash, unfortunately.
Are you guys? You still have the office that with BRB out?
Yeah, and the office space is donated. The utilities are donated. We had a little lockdown recently with one of the employees being tested positive, so I did a self-quarantine for a couple of weeks at home. So I work at home every chance I get. They do provide us warehouse space for our 10,000 trash bags a year that we get donated, and we just got in 30 cigarette litter receptacles, things like that. So they offer me storage space for all that as well. Doesn't fit in my garage.
It always amazed me, the city was getting, we were providing them with trash bags for their pickup along the interstate, giving them $10,000 worth of trash bags, and they cut the Keep America Beautiful by $10,000, and then they had to go out and buy their own trash bags.
Yeah, Sasha said, well, we can buy our own trash bags, and I thought, well, okay.
There you go.
These are donated, so that was kind of discouraging.
Well, so, anyway.
And we do not, in fact, I don't think the inmate crews are out right now at all. We don't work in cooperation with them at all. That's through the Highway Action Team and the Neighborhood Action Team, through the city and KDOT.
You mentioned expanding to Silver Lake, Rossville. What are we going to be?
Well, we're just trying to do more cleanups out there and recruit more local people to help out. And we've had pretty good cooperation. Most of those communities already, well, they had already planned events, but unfortunately, some of them had been canceled because of the virus. But, yeah, we want to, it's difficult for me to get to people to go out there to pick up litter, but I'm going to try to work more locally with different groups in those communities to try to get them. Auburn is very active, and Barryton is pretty active. Tecumseh is pretty active, and somewhat in Silver Lake as well. And Rossville is very active. They always provide us a big group for Get Down and Get Dirty. They like our T-shirts.
Any other questions?
Okay, I'd be happy to answer any questions anytime you have them. Drop me an email or a phone call.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, since my calendar was wrong, who do we have next?
Well,
3 o'clock.